Just when you thought things can't get lower, the Denver Nuggets lose to the Washington Wizards for the second time this season. Man, oh man, oh man. If you want to have a conversation about what's happening, oh my goodness, y'all. And I got to be short because there's a whole stuff going on in Atlanta right now with the weather. Y'all, man, this was a horrible, horrible game in so many different ways. Honestly, like the Nuggets, this is probably their worst loss was the first Wizards game, but this is right up there with maybe even the worst loss now because given the fact that they have been winning, they had a really nice win streak going into this run they had going into the Pacers game. They were taking care of business, and then they kind of just flattened out and like not even versus a good team, just a team that is young. I think has a lot of really good assets on the roster. From Bub Carrington to Sarr to Champagny to Keyshawn George, who I like. I mean, they just got players. Chris Middleton played decent today. But overall, the Nuggets just don't defend. They don't have the will to defend. They don't want to defend. 19 of 45 from three today, which is 42% for the Wizards. The three-point defense is non-existent. The Nuggets, they shot 35% from three and 12 of 34. They don't get them up. They don't contest them. All the way around, Alexander Sarr had a great game today. He was 12 of 28 from the field, 5 of 9 from three, 34 points. He played really well. He was aggressive. He was hitting his jumpers today as well, the most threes he'd made the entire year. I think that Jordan Poole had a great fourth quarter. I think he had 16 points or something like that. The Nuggets just didn't play any defense on him. But all the way around, Nikola Jokic, 40 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 16 of 30 from the field, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He was a +6 in his minutes. And they were -9 without him today. Like Jamal Murray, 24 points, 7 assists, 4 steals, 9 of 16 from the field, 3 of 8 from three, including the game shot to tie it up from the mid-range, +19 today. Went down with a rolled ankle, came back, still hit the shot. You know, Russell Westbrook had 20 points, or had, Michael Porter Jr. 20 points and 11 rebounds today. He was a -13 in today's game. Russell Westbrook today had 22 points, 11 assists. But all the way around, y'all, the team just isn't good enough. Like, there's no, all this stuff is cool. They had 4 players score 20 or more. Cool. They had 3 players with a double-double. Cool. They don't have, the most important players on this team are 15 and 27 based on how things are going. And they don't have the players from Christian Brown to Porter to everybody else to fill in on the defensive end and to do their job and to do it consistently. And you see it time and time and time and time and time and time again. They're just, it's, I feel like I've had this conversation for months now. I think this roster is at its end. I just don't think that you can continue to ask this. You know, I've talked on multiple shows, Locked On Nuggets, Players' Choice, that I think they need to move into a defensive-minded team. They need to move into a true defensive four on the roster. And, even that keeping AG, keeping Michael Porter, whatever it has to do, you have to flip it for that. And some of this is you need true rim protection, you need a backline defender, but you also need, which is what Aaron Gordon is when he's healthy, by the way. But you also need a POA defender. Christian Brown, for me, the reason I asked this on Twitter the other day, I said, has Christian Brown played well enough just this year to guarantee starting next year? And most people said overwhelmingly yes. But again, if you just look at this team, I don't know if the offensive offset is worth what comes with it, with the defensive lapses, with the fact that he just is not good enough at that position right now to be able to lean into it. And maybe he's just a year behind. Like the Nuggets this year, they got a 116.18 rating when he's on the court this year. Like, that's just not good defensively. It's not. And that's really problematic to deal with. This year, Aaron Gordon, they got a 116.17. They got a 115.28 defensive rating when Aaron Gordon is on the court this year for a PBT. Christian Brown, 116.8. Like, that's just not good enough. Like, they just do not have, I think, the pieces to be able to contend at a high level and to give the kind of defensive performances that are truly going to help them get where they need to go. Last year, KCP on the team, they had a 112.59 defensive rating. They had a 124 offensive rating. Well, KCP was a plus 11.72 in this on the team on the court last year. A plus 11.72. Like, that's crazy. That's even better than what Joker's at right now. And I think that's why players like that are so important. I think there's a fundamental breakdown in if your best player is giving you 40, 13, and 9 on 60 true shooting, he's a plus 6 in his minutes, and you still can't win those games versus one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, we're not. This is just not. It's not a team that you want to take for sure. I think Jamal Murray's been good enough. 24 points, 7 assists, 4 steals, and 6 rebounds. You can live with Jamal. He's been playing really well lately. And Porter again, 20 and 11 today. But defensively, he gets so lost so often. And then Peyton Watson, minus 22 off the bench. He's just, he's still a really good defender. But another thing that has to update at their scheme, like the way the team is not committed to the scheme they're deploying. And Michael Malone, even today, is arguing with the players about like their effort and this and that, like their ability to be able to do this and their execution. And I mean, everything. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not like. Yeah, it's just not. I just don't think that it's a worthwhile project. I think to continue to invest in what this team is right now. I think that the team has to change and adjust. Michael Malone, per Ryan Blackburn, I asked Michael Malone about the level of belief in Nuggets locker room that can be a good defense. He said, good question. You have to ask those guys. I think there is a belief, but more important than belief is there a want to. And that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, they don't want to. As of right now, they do not want to. And that's going to be the difference for Denver. Like, that's just going to be the difference. They have to be able to respond. Yeah, this is hilarious. They have to be able to respond to multiple different looks, to multiple different coverages, to multiple different offensive sets, and they don't have the ability to do that. So I just think like some of this is, I don't think the players believe right now. NP13 at this point just surround Jokic and Jamal with high-level defenders on the floor and so low. I agree. There's no way these rotations and recovery passes are so bad. MPJ has to go. He isn't good enough. NP13, thank you for the super chat. Yep. And again, they're tied for the 2 seed. They're tied for the 2 seed with all these issues, which again, I speaks to the season Joker's having, Jamal's having when he's been healthy this year. I mean, all of it. You name it. So they're just going to have to be able. They're just going to have to be able to respond and show effort. But we'll see what they will. I mean, at this point, even if like I bring this to you, like, oh, here's what they need to do. They need to X out better. They need to rotate better. They need to get back in transition. You know all that. You know all this because we talked about this multiple times. That's all. It is what it is. Like, if Joker's putting these numbers up and he's winning the minutes, and then you can't even score anything off the bench, you can't play any defense, you're not rotating correctly, then, there's nothing to talk about. And I think Malone, I think this was a game probably that I would have leaned into the defense in the fourth quarter. With Zeke Naji, even with Peyton wasn't good in offense today, but like you weren't getting stops. And like at some point you don't need to keep scoring with offense. I guess you just keep going in those situations. But I also think that's where it's limited, right? Malone doesn't even know like who he can go to because the team is so flawed. Like, but overall, they're going to play the Warriors on Monday, and they're going to be a completely different team on Monday. I know how this works. I know how this team works. They're going to be a completely different team on Monday. It's going to be a highly competitive game, and I would not be surprised if they win. because they're going to be like, okay, we just lost to the Wizards. They got some good teams coming up. They're going to play very hard and they're going to fight like tooth and nail. And they probably win the game. But that's how they are. That's because their ceiling is when we're pissed and when we have to lock in, we can beat anybody. But when they're playing like this, they did tonight, and they don't feel like they should have to lock in. They lose to the Wizards twice. But they're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. I'm sorry, everybody. This has been a very frustrating season. Very frustrating season. I think for everybody. I think the players are frustrated. I think the players want more. They want to win championships. They want to compete for championships. But I think the team knows that they just don't have the dogs to be able to do it this year. Yeah. But honestly, shout out Jamal, man. He's been a difference maker as of late. And the plus 19 is a big deal. And I think when he went out, the game changed. But again, you shouldn't have to rely on Jamal Murray in this game, y'all. Come on now. Or Jokic in this game. Come on now. The team isn't good enough. They don't have the luxury, though, of Jokic not being exceptional and Jamal not being exceptional. Michael Porter, I think, offensively was good. Russell, I think, offensively was good. But I think there's too many gaps. Like, you can't have people that take plays off defensively around those players. Like, that's not what they were last year. And honestly, that's not why they lost in the second round. They lost their offense stalled out. But their defense was really good all of last season. The regular season and going into the playoffs, even, they played really good. But this year, it's gone. Like, the floor, the mysticism, it's not there. So unfortunately, it is what it is. But y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I know everybody frustrated. I'm kind of just like, I feel like I've been here all year, and it's just a matter of they need to go out and get it done. Really, it's just that simple, y'all. Swipe again, y'all know what time it is. See you.